At the Hedaya conference, I think it was 2 weeks ago, you mentioned a study that was published in Finland in 2023, and it was about connecting the emotions with body parts, right? And like what kind of reactions emotions trigger in our body. Can you give us like a gist of the main results of this study? And why do you think it's actually relevant for what we are discussing?
The point that I was trying to make at the conference, and it's nice that you've actually taken notice of this, is that there has been this reluctance to really consider emotions in strategic communications in general, except perhaps when we are looking at elections and because during election time, as we have unfortunately witnessed recently, it plays really a strong part in influencing electoral votes. So let's put it this way. But I think what I was trying to show in terms of that study was that emotions are things that you feel, but they also will affect and manifest in different parts of your body. And we have what we call cold and hot emotions. So meaning that they will create different types of feelings, bodily feelings, and how they manifest. So if you're looking at different types of emotions, they may manifest more in your upper part of your body or your lower part of your body. So it's very difficult to sometimes, when people are not able to express their emotions, it will also manifest in the body. It can be aches, it can be heat, it can be, when you're in love, we always talk about, you're feeling butterflies in your tummy. That's a real sensation, but it is also linked to an emotion. So to understand also the connection between emotions that you are feeling and bodily sensations, how that translates into your body is also important. That is something that I also talk a little bit about when we talk about rehabilitation, for example, or trauma. You'll have some people who experience trauma who are not necessarily able to talk about emotions, because sometimes they are really, really buried deep inside of you, but they will manifest in other ways. So it might be a physical incapacity or a pain in your neck or your back, and then it's a manifestation of an emotional need that needs to be addressed. So understanding this connection between the emotion, the body, the behavioral response and change is really important, because you have this strong interconnection. So I think it's interesting to see that, when we talk about strategic communication, it's not just about comms per se. It has so many different elements that comes and shape strategic communication. So yes, it's a tool, but as you know, and we've discussed this before, it's also a tool for policy, it's a tool for change. And it operates at different levels, whether it's at the community level, whether it's at the local government level, whether it's an emotional governance. So, is practiced at different types of levels. So I guess the point I was trying to make is to show that those emotions are real. It is something that we do experience also physically, and the study did show that you have some emotions that will manifest in your body, specifically, like if you look at happiness, for example, or love, you can really see that it's a more of a kind of a warm color, a warm kind of sensation, and it kind of crosses all over your body. Where you have danger and fear, it's something that you feel more like in your chest, for example. And anger is an emotion that really doesn't activate your arms. So you can really see that depending on what kind of emotion you're dealing with, it also manifests in different ways in your body. how people experience that and how people can actually also respond and react. So when we, incorporate emotions in strategic communications, we need to develop a much more sophisticated vocabulary around emotions. We need to develop a much more sophisticated understanding of what emotions are, because if you ask people to describe you emotions, most people will give you 5 or 6 emotions. But if you look at, really at expanding your vocabulary, you can look at least already a minimum of 32 emotions. So we're very poor when it comes to, describing emotions and explaining emotions. And also, I think, in trying to understand also that we can feel many different things at the same time. So you can be, fearful, angry, hopeful. I mean, there's different combinations. So then it becomes about understanding which ones are more prevalent. And each emotion corresponds usually to a need.